Something very odd and shocking happened to me. I don't get on this board a lot. I usually lurk on /in/, /k/, /out/, /is/ and /r9k/ but I can't post this on any of those. I was thinking of posting on /in/ or /out/ but thought they would direct me here regardless. To summarize, I saw something spectacular that has terrified me and my pals since it happened. The memory has been carved into my brain for the most part, so everything should be accurate. Though I might be paraphrasing our dialogue a little bit. Not enough to change any of what actually happened though. This occurred about a month ago, so I guess I'll just get right into it. Be me. Greater than 25-year-old Army vet living in the boonies of wooded South Central Kentucky. Enough forests and woods to spend a whole life walking through. Be turning 26 soon, so in a good mood. Decide to go on a camping trip with some friends on a spur-of-the-moment decision. Call my guys together, 3 other dudes, we'll call them Samuel, Dylan, and Christo. We had a place that we always go camping to, probably not after this. For reference, it's definitely in the Barren County jurisdiction. Get supplies ready, 4 coolers, 2 small tents, a lot of beer and snacks, and 3 blunts. Christo gets in his truck, picks up the other guys, and comes to my place to pick up me and the supplies. Hell yeah. PNG. Put supplies in back with Dylan and sit in the truck. In between Christo making a joke or doing something stupid, we're always quiet while focusing on something. So truck rides, setting up camp, or just working in general always has an awkward silence for us. We're some loud fuckers too. Drive out to the middle of nowhere and walk up the very long, crude trail us and some other guys made way back when we were seniors in high school. Finally arrive at our spot after probably an hour of walking. After a while, our tents are up and everything else is ready. Christo grabs the 4 coolers, and we all sit on some logs around what will be our firewood when night comes. It's only 4:30 p.m. right now. Grab some beers and start cracking around. Just general fuckery. So Anon, what are you gonna do for your big 26? Says Samuel. Before I get the chance to say anything, Christo pops off, ask Veronica, my GF, she's the one who's deciding. Really funny, oh my sides.jpg. For some reason my friends call me pussy whipped and it's a running joke with them. Came my sarcastic laughing and the rest of them cracking up. Something you should know about Christo. He's a Mexican but a full-blown American-loving Trump-supporting rebel boy. He's a complete Chad, and though he's the biggest party animal you've ever seen, he's a very hard worker. He's 250 and well over 6 feet of pure muscle and jackassery. Christo's almost never serious, but when he is, don't take it lightly. Back to it. Shut up and give me another beer. He obliges. Now hold on a minute, Samuel goes as he pulls out one of the big beautiful blunts. Don't drink anymore, why don't we spark up? I thought we were saving those for tonight, I reply. Hell, we'd still have 2 left, he says. I look to Christo and Dylan and they don't have an issue with it. Alright, I guess I put my beer down and Samuel lights it up. Samuel is a little guy. No more than 5 feet 4 inches and 130 pounds, but he's a hell of a heavyweight. Me and Christo hardly ever smoke and this would be Dylan's first time. Samuel lights it up and of course hits it first, and second, and third. After like 4 times, Christo takes it from him and hands it to Dylan. Dylan's a bit hesitant. In between Samuel's laughing he says, come on Dylan, don't be pussy, hit it. Your first time's the best. Dylan, you don't have to hit it if you don't want to, Christo says. Nah, I got this. Dylan hits it, then the fucker hits him. Dylan's an average height guy but around 300 pounds and very quiet in public, but a complete jockster in private. Falls over from laughing so hard. Me and Christo keck about it. Samuel's red-faced on the fucking ground. Dylan, the poor bastard, gets up and hits it again. Immediately on the floor again. Christo's in tears now and I'm clenching my sides. I think Samuel's are in orbit. Eventual hands it off to me. I hit it twice and cough a little. Give it to Christo and he takes it better than I did. After passing it around for a bit, it's just a roach, so Samuel supermaned it and we sat around and chilled out. Check my phone and it's already 6. Told my friends and they were as shocked as I was. It had only felt like minutes since we had gotten everything set up at 4:30. Decide to rip into the other 2 blunts. Once we're done with them, get back to chilling out. Christo says he has to piss and walks over to the trees. Guys, Christo says with a weary voice. We look into his general. Guys, he exclaims. We rush over to him to see what's up. The bastard flings around with his dick out and pisses on us. The bastard pissed on us. As a joke, this beaner literally pissed on us. We were pissed on and we were pissed. We tackle him to the ground and wrestled him. It was nothing malicious though. He was laughing the whole time and kept calling himself R. Kelly. We get back over to the campsite and light a fire as it's beginning to get dark. Me, Dylan, and Samuel take our piss-covered shirts off and throw them at Christo. He, being the Einstein that he is, throws them in the fire. Dylan annoyingly states, Christo, you fucking idiot, now the whole place is gonna smell like piss. Here Christo says as he takes off his shirt and throws it into the fire. We all laughed at how dumb Christo was. After fucking around a bit more, once we sober up, we get tired. It was definitely after 11 p.m. once we decided to go into the tents to sleep. Samuel and Christo call one tent, so I'm stuck in the other one with Dylan. Surprisingly enough, it gets hot in a small tent with a fat guy like Dylan. Decide to take my sleeping bag and lay beside one of the logs around our campfire. I remember before dozing off to sleep hearing Christo and Samuel tell some shitty jokes but laughing to them nonetheless. This is when the worst, most terrifying event in my life happened. Of the years I spent in Afghanistan dodging mudslime bullets and watching my friends die by my side, nothing I have ever experienced or Lord willing will experience have or will ever compare to what happened next. I'm literally shaking typing this because of how terrifying redawning upon this awful memory is. I wake up with my head horizontal, sideways, so all I can see is the log beside me. Check my phone, I watch the time switch over from 2:31 to 2:32 a.m. Look up and move my torso upwards with my elbows so my head is facing just above the log. To my surprise, I see a Christo with his mouth gaped open looking up and over at something. Also see Samuel sitting on a log with his mouth open too, looking in the same direction. What's going on? I say, rubbing my eyes. My question was replied to with a cold silence. I annoyingly get up to look in the direction they were looking at. This was what I can only describe as an evil confusion. I felt absolutely shocked whenever I saw what this fucking thing was. The top of this organism was a crude sphere, which I am guessing was its head, though it could have been its torso. Its head was just below the canopy of the forest. On what I'm saying is its head, I couldn't see any orifice. Directly below what I'm loosely calling its head was its legs. Yes, if the top of this creature was its head, then its head was attached to its legs. It had 3 legs, 2 in the front, 1 trailing behind. As it walked, this monster's legs stayed notably and oddly straight, but did bend like a knee would. Its skin is the hardest part to explain. What I can best offer is that its skin was gray and tarp-like. Like plastic, but not like plastic. It's so hard to explain. It was similar to what you would see on an elephant or a seal, I guess. It looked like if you scratched it, it would make a noise like a fucking knife to a blackboard. This abomination was walking not necessarily at us but to our 8 o'clock position. A very deep and loud, what I'm going to call humming. It was fucking loud and deep. It made the ground vibrate. I knew it was coming from this creature, but it was so loud it was almost as if it was coming from the sky. After what I'm liberally calling 2 steps to our 8 o'clock position, I hear a zipper as Dylan opens the tent he was in and steps out. He walks to directly beside me and a still sitting Samuel. His mouth is wide open as well. Given our location and how big this fucking monster was, we've come to call it the Kentucky Kollossus. the Kollossus was now probably 35 to 40 feet away from us. I still can't tell how much land this thing was clearing with each step. Greater than 4 full-grown well over 20-year-old men just stand/sit in shock and watch as this monster inches, or yards, towards us. We could tell that if it didn't change its walking trajectory it wouldn't touch us or our camping tents or fire. It walks as close as it ever was to us. About 10 feet away from Christo, who it absolutely dwarfed. I can't tell if it noticed us or not, the fucker just walked. For its size the Kollossus footsteps were a lot quieter than would expect. Especially compared to the humming noise it made. As it takes another step forward Christo kept staring at it. It was almost as if we couldn't look away from it, not that I was making an effort to look away from it. Me and the boys were dead set on looking at this thing. After more steps away from our direction Christo turns and looks at us. He started crying. I started crying. I don't know if it was confusion or anxiety or what, but soon Samuel started crying too. Somehow Dylan kept his cool and did as much as he could to console us. Of course he was as petrified as we were, but he didn't cry at all. I remember in between the crying asking what the hell was that thing? I obviously didn't get a coherent response. We sat there huddled around and hugged each other. None of us went back to sleep. After we had settled down I decided to ask Christo and Samuel, did you two not sleep at all last night? Huh? Why? Samuel responds. I go on, when I had woken up I saw you two awake, when you were *. Oh, Christo let out. No, I had woken up and wanted to smoke, so I grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of Samuel's pants and it woke him up. Oh okay, but when did you two see it? I respond. Christo continues, that's what I was getting to, a swipe. Since I got caught I asked Samuel if I could smoke and if he wanted to join me. He said yes to both. He lit his and I handed me one. I told him I was gonna go check on you. I unzipped the tent flag and went out. I was fidgeting with the cigarette and lighter, and once I got it lit I hit it and looked up. He froze up. That's when I saw it. He was beginning to get a bit choked up. I went to yell out Samuel's name but it came out as a whimper. Regardless, he heard me and asked what. He looks over at Samuel. Samuel says I asked what about 2 more times before I went out of the tent to see Christo standing still, looking off into the distance. I looked up at him and started walking forward. I had my eyes focused on his head and asked what he wanted. By the time I was beside him I looked away in the direction that his head was. Far off in the distance I saw it. How far? asked Dylan. Probably several hundred feet, Samuel replied. I collapsed and hit my ass on the log. He paused for a moment. I went to get you but I couldn't. It was the most petrifying thing I had ever felt. It wasn't like I was paralyzed, I was just choosing not to move. It was weird. Christo put his hand on Samuel's shoulder and continues, for him. You woke up eventually, and then once that humming started Dylan woke up. We mostly sat around huddled in silence, constantly looking over our shoulder. We hadn't really spoke too much about it itself while we were huddled with each other by the camp. It was mainly just Pep talking like we gonna fucking make it through the night, or something like if it comes back we're not freezing up. We're gonna grab a flashlight and run down the trail. At around late 4 early 5 the sun began to rise. It was the most beautiful thing we had ever seen. We unassembled the 2 small tents and grabbed the coolers and set off down the trail. A little bit of chit-chat down the trail but mostly silent. For some reason while we were walking down the trail we were afraid once we reached the beginning Christo's truck wouldn't be there. Eventually we get there and lo and behold Christo's truck is there. We throw everything into the truck bed, including Dylan, and set off down the road. But in the truck I think all of us were waiting for someone to bring it up. Finally, after about 15 minutes into the ride, Dylan poked his head in through the rear window and said, so we all definitely saw the same thing, right? We were silent for a second but Christo said, y'all saw a giant gray 3-legged creature. Samuel and I said yes. We all heard that loud deep humming noise it made. I asked. The other three said yes. I began to ask, should we tell Ennio dash? No, Christo said in a very matter-of-fact manner. That'd be a good way to get us all locked up in a nut house. Dylan agreed with him and Samuel remained silent. After more silence, Christo continued, we don't tell anyone. No other friends. No family. No girls or hook UPS. This stays between us. Christo looked at us. We have to be clear on this, okay guys? We agreed. For the car ride and a bit after, Christo acted really odd. When we got to a gas station, Christo went in to fill up his truck. When he got back out, another Mexican walked up to him and complained about the Confederate flag he had on his truck bed. I didn't know we had white supremacists. You know they hate people like you and me, so why are you waving their flag? Usually Christo would have clowned on him or pushed him and tell him to fuck off. Christo just dead stared at the guy and said go. It was really creepy. He got back in his truck and drove us all to my house. All of us stayed at my place over the weekend and played video or just fucked around. It got brought up a few more times, but the whole time we were at my house there was a really awkward vibe. Every time I think of the Kollossus it gives me cold chills. I wanted to ask around to friends and co-workers, but I'm going to stay loyal to that oath we took. From what I know, none of the others guys have brought it up to anyone else. So I'm taking it here. Have any of you here ever seen or heard anything of what I'm talking about? I look up all the details but I get nothing. Any local folklore or just stories that sounds anything like what I witnessed? Or if you've seen what I'm talking about, please tell me your experience or even a friend's experience. Any other forums or places you all could report me to. I'll answer any questions, we just need to find this shit out.